All right, I learned a long time ago that whenever I try to give people too much at once, they start to lose their ideas. So usually when I teach 3 different topics, which I usually do, I'm not going to do that this week because I need you to make sure you focus on the 2 things that we learned, which is solving questions like, the 3 things we learned, which is solving questions like 2/3 x equals 5. I didn't even move it to the other side. I kept that the same. Like solving problems like 2x plus 7 equals 11. And solving problems like 11 equals 2x plus 7. Again, the only difference between these 2 is that the 11 is on the left here and x is on the right, whereas here x is on the left and 11 is on the right. These are the 3 problems I want to make sure you master because those are the 3 problems that you will see more often than anything else in your solving. And when you see it, you'll think back and say, he wasn't lying to me. This stuff does pop up a whole lot. Again, as long as you stay with me and trust me, you will see that a lot of stuff I tell you is absolutely right because I have no reason to lie to you. So today's work is all review, and that's so you have a chance to really solidify your understanding of solving 2-step equations before we move forward next week. Let's take a look at all the problems so that you'll see in your homework and on the quiz tomorrow. Again, all of these are on your homework, all of these are on your quiz. Here we go. 9/6 n equals 27. What value should be moved first is the 6, because remember we moved the bottom value first and then the 9 would go second. Again, what we do here is to move this 6, it's divided by 6, so we multiply by 6, multiply by 6. 9n comes down. 6 times 2 is 1. 6 times 20 is 120, because it'll be 12 with a 0. 6 times 7 is 42, so that's what, 162. And then, again, to get rid of this 9n equals 162. 9 times n, we divide by 9. We divide by 9. N comes down. 9 goes into 16 once. That would be with 7 left over. 9 goes into 72 18 times. And that is it. All right. Again, I know there's no calculator, but I don't think you really need the calculator part to get that. That is your solve fraction. We also will have the add fractions on this thing. Least common denominator. Remember, you look here and you say, what's the smallest number? Count by that number there. 6, 12, 18, 24, and so on. Does 3 go into 6? Yes, it does, which means your least common denominator is 6. You do not need to rename the first one because 1/6 equals what over 6? That's the same number, so therefore 1 should be the same number. The second fraction is 8 over 3. You want it to have a 6 on the bottom of it. This, I know 3 times 2 is 6, so I'll multiply the 8 times 2 to make 16. So remember, that's your first answer, your second answer, your third answer, and in the end you put these 2 fractions, 1/6 plus 16/6 equals, and you get 17 over 6 as your answer for what is going on. And that's it. So again, you have a add fraction problem on there tomorrow as well. And on your homework, just again, make sure that you practice that. And again, ask if you're having issues. There's nothing wrong with asking me one question, even though you never spoke to me all year. It's fine. I don't take it personal. I understand that most people don't want to talk to their teacher anyway. But I also understand that the students who actually talk to their teacher are typically more successful than the students who just refuse to say anything at all to their teacher because they think they're the devil, which I'm not. Completely. Consider the equation 10z plus 58 equals 118. What values are with G? Again, I'm sorry, with Z, 10 and 58. This is the 2-step equation. The value that should be moved first is the value that's being added or subtracted. That's how we kind of adjusted our thinking. The value that's being added or subtracted moves first, so 58 should go first. The 10, the value that's attached, should go second. Hopefully you've been kind of perfecting that over time. So now what we do is, again, how do we move this plus 58? We move it by subtracting 58. The whole 10z comes down, 58 goes away. This gives me, let's see, 5 to 11 is 6. Of course, that's a 0. And this is 10 times x equals 60, so we divide by 10. Divide by 10. X comes down with 60 divided by 10. How many 10s go into 60 would be 6. And that's it. So again, just make sure, and again, use your calculator if you have to. I'm just not going to do that because I want to show you that you don't need a calculator for everything. And if you think I'm just smart, that's not the case. It's because I've practiced. It has nothing to do with how smart I am. It's that I've practiced. Some of you are very good at these video games. And if you watch me play video games, Initially, because I don't play them, you would think I'm terrible. Don't think I'm stupid. Just think I haven't played enough. Because if you let me play it enough, I eventually get better. Same thing with math skills and number skills. If you practice it enough, you eventually get better at it. You just got to deal with the frustration of not knowing first. What values are with Z? Z is on the right side this time. I think it's 12. And don't forget, you have to put negative 36. The value that should be moved first is, again, the value that's added or subtracted, which is your negative 36. The second value to move should be the 12. So how do we move the negative 36? We move it by adding or using a positive, which is the opposite of negative 36, to both sides. 72 plus 36 is 108. Again, 2 plus 6 is 8. 7 plus 3 is 10. 12Z comes down only. Now here's one of the tricks I use. I need to multiply something by 2. Because again, I'm multiplying by 12, but typically the ones digit from here is consistent with the ones digit over there. What number do I multiply 2 by to end in an 8? Well, from what I know, 2 times 4 is 8. Also, 2 times 9 is also 8. Well, does it make sense that 12 times 4 would be 108? And not even close, because 12 times 4 would be around 40 or so. 12 times 9 probably is it. So again, when I divide both sides by 12, I believe it's 9, because 9 is the only other number that ends in 8. So when I do this, there you see it is 12. I'm sorry, 108 divided by 12 is 9. So again, what that does for us is it, using the ones digit, that's another way that I kind of calculate these numbers, is I look at the ones digit and I know my multiplication facts. And I know the only numbers that you can multiply 2 by to end in 8 is 4 and 9. 4 doesn't make sense because that's too small. 9 makes more sense. So if I had to make a guess, I would guess 9. You don't always have to guess, and you really don't want to guess, because that's, you know, just not the best. But remember, I've been doing this for a long time. So what I initially do is I guess, then I type it in, see if I'm right, and as I get it right more, I start to trust myself more. You would do the same thing. What values are with F? 4 and negative 38. The added subtracted value needs to go first. So the negative 38 should move first. The connected value should move last. So how do we move a negative 38? By putting a positive 38 on both sides. 4F comes down. That goes away. 22 and 38 make, I believe, 60, because 2 plus 8 is 10. Carry the 1. 4 times F is 60. And here we have to divide by 4, divide by 4. Now what I'm doing here is long division, but it's not the same long division. You know, it's got the same concept though. I ask myself, how many times does 4 go into 6? That's 1 time. 4 goes into 6 with 2 left over, and so I put a 2 over the next digit, and imagine this as 20. How many times does 4 go into 20? 5 times. There you go. So again, all these things are easy enough to do if you practice them, but trust me, when my teacher first showed them to me, I was not a professional at them. You have to practice it. You have to be willing to mess up. That's really what math is all about. You got to be willing to mess up. And the last one before we discuss what the end of the part is, what values are with M are 11 and 9. What value should be moved first is the added or subtracted value. What value should move second is the number that is connected. So solve. How do I move a plus 9? Well, with a minus 9. This gives me 33 equals 11M. I don't think we need a math trick for this one. How many times does 11 go into 33? Would be 3 times equals M. All right, so again, I hope that I see a whole lot of A's and B's on this test. Even if I see some C's, that's fine. But again, if you're getting a D or F on this test, it means you probably did not focus on your fundamentals like you were supposed to. Remember, you can retake it, and that you should probably go back to chapter 2 and master that before worrying about retaking chapter 3. So if you don't have an A or a B on chapter 2, then you definitely weren't ready for chapter 3, but we'll see what happens. So far, you probably fit into one of 3 groups. Number 1, you might have no clue what's going on. Number 2, you can find the correct answer, but it takes a bit of time. Or number 3, you're walking through this and pretty much saying, why are we doing so many of the same problem, because this is boring. Boring is good. Let me just tell you that. Boring is very good in this situation, because boring means that you already can see 2-3 steps ahead of where you're going, and you know what's going to happen. You just have to wait for the answer to pop up. So if you're in part of 2 or 3, which means both of those have the idea to say you can find the answer. It's because you took time to practice your skill set. again, don't stress if you are in group 2 and it takes you some time to finish it. As you practice, you'll get better as you continue to work on the skill. The fact that you know what to do and mostly when to do it means that you will get there. Again, you just got to practice. Just keep working with it. Keep hitting similar question. Get some practice on it and you'll be fine. If you're part of group 1, which means that you have no clue what's going on, I'm just going to explain why. My suggestion is that you revisit the assignments for chapter 2 like I said before. The only way to be lost on 2-step equations is if you don't really understand 1-step equations. Because all 2-step equations is 2 steps. And how can you take 2 steps forward if you don't know how to take 1 step forward? So the sooner you take those questions seriously, the sooner you'll find your way through the new problems. Remember that the problems are only going to get more complex as we move forward the next week or the next 2 weeks. So I would get caught up soon. Again, the videos are 10 minutes long, just like this one. The lessons take about 10-20 minutes to do. It doesn't take a lot from you to actually get caught up. You just have to want to get caught up, which is why, again, if you don't get caught up, I know you just don't want to, not that you can't do it. Other than that, have a good day and good luck on that test tomorrow. And again, be sure to ask questions if you have them. Just make sure you show me your work when you do that, because I do not answer questions that are just random. Have a good day. Good luck.